Hi, my name is Brad Constantine, and this is a podcast of the New Testament. I'll be using as the text the King James Version along with the Joseph Smith translation. Although this is not an official recording of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, every effort's been made to be as doctrinally accurate as possible. I'll also be using quotes from general authorities of the Church, the apostles and prophets, and BYU professors and others, and every word out of the Scriptures themselves. So if you're ready for a really detailed analysis of the New Testament, you've come to the right place. Welcome. Hi there, welcome back. This will be for John chapter 19, which also includes the rest of Matthew 27, some of Mark 15, and Luke 23. Last time we had where Jesus was before Pilate, and he said he was going to just scourge him and let him go. But in verse 1 of John 19, it says, "Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him." In Matthew it says that then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the common hall and gathered unto him the whole band. The unhappy sufferer was publicly stripped, was tied by the hands in a bent position to a pillar, and then on the tense quivering nerves of the naked back the blows were inflicted with leather thongs, weighted with jagged edges of bone and lead. Sometimes even the blows fell by accident, sometimes with terrible barbarity, or purposely struck on the face and eyes. It was a punishment so hideous that under its lacerating agony the victim generally fainted, often died. That was by Elder McConkie. When I was in Israel, we went to a place that was called Caiaphas's Palace, and in there we saw where they would have done scourging of a person, and what they would do is they had holes in the ceiling and in the floorboard where they would have chained them or tied them in some way so that their feet and hands were tied so that they couldn't move. And what they would do is that this was by our tour guide named Stephen Rona, who we had as a tour guide in Israel, and he told us that what they would do is that they would beat the person 13 times, and then they would stop and make sure the person was awake. They would clean his wounds, usually with vinegar and salt water, and clean up the wounds, and then beat the person again 13 times, and again clean the wounds with salt water and vinegar, make sure the person was awake, and then beat them 13 more times, and that's the 39 stripes that they would get. But each time they would clean them up, and the reason for that was that they wanted to make sure that the person was awake for the whole thing, so that whatever the reason for their scourging, they wouldn't repeat it. They wouldn't do the same thing again. So you can see how pretty brutal this would have been to Jesus having done that. Verse 2 of John, "And the soldiers platted a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe, and said, Hail, King of the Jews! And they smote him with their hands. And they spit upon him, and bowing their knees worshipped him. Pilate therefore went forth again, and saith unto them, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him." Here Pilate was trying to arouse sympathy by showing him after the scourging. Pilate wanted to spare him. Verse 5, "Then came Jesus forth, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, and Pilate saith unto them, Behold the man. When the chief priests, therefore, and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. Pilate saith unto them, Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall, and saith unto Jesus, Whence art thou? But Jesus gave him no answer. Then saith Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have power to crucify thee, and have power to release thee? But Jesus answered, Thou couldst have no power against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore, he that delivered me unto thee hath the greater sin. Bruce R. McConkie says, But Caiaphas, who delivered me to thee, has the greater sin, for as a Jew he knows of my divine origin. Verse 12, From thenceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. You can see Pilate's reluctance. Remember, his wife also had a vision that he shouldn't mess with Jesus, that he should treat him kindly and let him go. Verse 13, When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth and sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the Pavement, but in the Hebrew, Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour, and he saith unto the Jews, Behold your king. So this is at noontime now. But they cried out, Away with him, away with him, crucify him. Pilate saith unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. And in Luke it says, And the voices of them of the chief priests prevailed. And Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they required. In Matthew it says, When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but rather that a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See that ye do nothing unto him. Pilate sought to refuse responsibility for deciding about Christ, but Pilate's hands were never dirtier than just after he had washed them, and that was by Neil Maxwell. And then back in John 16 it says, Then delivered he him therefore unto them to be crucified, and they took Jesus and led him away. So that's all that we're going to read for today, and we'll come back the next time. Bye.